All right, man. Hey, welcome to another episode of Dumbass Film Students. My name is Rudy Wilson, willy-nilly if you're nasty on social media. We got my guy to my right. I don't know who's right. He may be on somebody else's screen, but my right is DA Daryl Henry, or actually,
how's it going?
He doesn't really do social media, so you don't have to follow him. But if you want to, it's just pretty much his name with a bunch of underscores.
Underscore.
Then, of course, we got my brother, couldn't possibly be from the same mother, but he is black. Chris Golden, what's popping, brother?
Everything, man. Power to the people. Hashtag.
And that's Chris G Comedy. And then, of course, we got Mr. Lonnie Cox, a.k.a. Rusty Harry Cox Jr. What's popping, bro?
Not much, man. Just happy to be white. Happy to be here.
Wow. I love it.
Gotcha. And then, of course, man, we got a special guest here with us this week. The guy who I met. He actually was like in charge of me when I first met. He was this nigga got like a side job with the school and was like my fucking camp counselor for a week. And yeah, but he actually is a classmate of mine, film student, filmmaker, originally from Tennessee, but he's here by way of LA. Mr. Derek DJ Johnson. What's popping, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
The second. I'm sorry, the second.
Derek Johnson, the second.
Not the first.
Not the first.
Gotcha.
Doing pretty good. You know, I'm glad you're doing good.
I'm glad I'm doing good. Well, you don't know if I'm doing good. I'm just maybe flexing for the camera. I may be struggling. But that's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Join us on the Dumbass Film Student Podcast. Basically where, you know, I don't know if anybody ever takes insults to me calling us dumbass film students, but I say that because nobody respects our opinion in Hollywood. So I just feel like if they heard our opinion, they would probably be like, man, shut up, you know, dumbass film student. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. So this is what we're here for. So we just
they really don't respect us film students at all, man.
Yeah, they don't. You know what I'm saying? So we just here. We're gonna give our opinion. You know what I'm saying? Throw it out there. But before we get into that, man, I want the people. You know, we get at least 9 views a week. You know what I'm saying? So I want all 9 people to know about you, who DJ is, where you're from, what type of movies you like, what type of movies you like to make, what you're working on, if you got a website, all that type of stuff. Go ahead and throw it in there.
All right, so you know, I go by DJ, and my name's Derek Johnson II. I claim Tennessee, but I was actually born in Atlanta. My pops was in the military. We moved around a bunch, but we stopped in Tennessee when I was like in middle school and high school. Not my.
You didn't get to Tennessee until middle school?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't get to Tennessee until middle school, but I had lived in Pennsylvania and Maryland and Virginia and a whole bunch of other places for like 1 years. You can't claim somewhere if you only lived there for 1 year. Right. So because I lived in the high school for middle school, because it was in Tennessee for middle school and high school, I claimed them. And I originally went to University of Tennessee. Then I got hired by Disney to work at their parks in Florida. And that's when I moved down to Florida and Orlando. And after that, I went to FSU. I was in a circus at FSU.
That's it. That's what I wanted to bring up.
That's dope, man.
This nigga was in the circus.
That's dope.
And I'm not saying that as an insult, but I'm saying, but who do you know personally that is in the circus?
Right.
This is the first nigga in my life I have ever met that I knew, like, could talk to one-on-one, got his phone number, and this nigga was in the circus. I just still think that is...
This is a funny story. I originally didn't know I was going to be in the circus at all. Florida had one of its famous hurricanes, and shit was just down in Tallahassee, right? Mm-hmm. And I had a white roommate. He was like, oh, man, we should go try it for the circus. And I was like, well, it kind of sounds like some white shit. I don't really want to do that. But I didn't have anything else to do, right? I was like, I'm gonna watch it. He's like, all right, cool. So I went to the audition, and they're like, the first part of the audition is just really, you know, physical strength, like how many pull-ups you do, push-ups, other shit.
Right.
And then they say, and next is Derek Johnson II. Sorry, Derek Johnson II. It was weird because they had a little screen. My first name was spelled wrong and shit, and I was like, wow, that name though is eerily close to mine. My roommate had signed me up, even though I told him not to do that shit. I was like, what the fuck? And so then afterwards, it turns out I passed. I passed like the first round out of 3. And then I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know if
you found his calling.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of circus girls, but they are definitely fit. So I was like, I'm gonna see if I can keep this rolling. Like, how far can I get away with this? And so I go to my roommate and I was like, dude, they're gonna do the second round auditions. They're gonna come? And he's like, oh, I didn't make it. And I was like, ooh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Well, I did. So it is what it is.
It was probably actually his dream. He was like, yo, I really want to do this shit.
It might have. There was a lot of people in my circus who were like generational. Like this one girl.
I could believe it.
10th generation wire walker. I was like, that's what y'all did for 10 generations? You didn't think of anything else? There's no one thought that I don't want to walk on a wire. But Epic Circus was super cool. I ended up doing trapeze, which funny about that, I originally had a fear of height, but the trapeze guys got all the girls. So I had to, that's what I wanted to do.
Touché.
And getting up there, and we didn't have a net either. So when you're up there and you're like almost 50 feet in the air with no net, a lot of people ask me, how do you not fall? And it's actually really easy. When you don't want to die, you fall less. That's the trick. That's
a good trick. Right.
That's the trick. The fear of death.
I feel like that would knock me over the edge, though. Like I feel like I would be so scared. I'd be like, oh shit, and that would just be
my mom saw a lady die at the circus doing that exact trick, and I'm pretty sure she didn't want to die also. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the best.
Hey, but he said
wasn't enough. She wasn't afraid enough.
Right. He said the more you gotta. She didn't have enough of it. It's the more.
She probably got too cocky.
Fear of dying.
Right.
Yeah.
I've done this.
She was too cocky.
10,000 times.
I got this. Take the net away.
Yeah, this is generational. I've been doing this shit.
And guys, I'm gonna do it with my eyes closed.
All right. I only fell once, and that was from 10 feet during practice, and that scared the shit out of me so bad, I never fell again. And it wasn't just me. I was doing what's called double trapeze. I'm holding up another person while I'm.
Oh God! You're doing Robin's parents. That's like a death sentence.
Yeah, and I fell once from 10 feet, and it was onto a pad because I was just practicing, right? And it scared me so fucking bad. I was like, I'm never gonna fall again, never. Well,
did your life flash before your eyes in this?
You know what the worst part is? I didn't even get to see anything interesting. I just saw all the boring shit. Like,
hey yo, his life flashing before his eyes. It's all the times he's like doing homework assignments and like.
Basically,
it's just a montage of him sleeping. It just sees himself sleeping.
The person, when I was at the family reunion, my mom was like, "Hey, go talk to this person." I was like,
right. All right. He remembers when his friend signed him up for the circus. His friend got cut.
All the boring parts happened. And when I hit that mat, I was like, thank God I'm alive, because that was the worst. I needed a second.
Yeah, he was like, dude, I gotta step up my fucking life flashing before my eyes, man. I'm boring.
This is really why you became a filmmaker.
Right. He saw his whole life and he's like, dude, this is boring. I gotta step it up.
So then I came out here to Los Angeles in fall 18, and then I did meet Rudy because I was working for the school. I was an orientation leader, and it was funny because I was talking to Rudy, one of the only black kids in that entire, like, we had like a row of kids just lined up against the wall like they was in trouble or some shit,
right?
Because they were waiting to go into a room, and we started getting talking, and I was like, I thought to myself, like, I hope I see this guy around later. Like, he's pretty cool. Literally, the next week, he was sitting in my class. I was like, oh, all right. Well, yeah, I guess I will see you again.
I know you.
Facts. Yeah. That's facts. So what exactly got you into filmmaking specifically? Like, what
originally, I was really into science and stuff like that. Both my parents are actually scientists. My mom, she's a college professor in psychology, and then my dad's a pediatrician. So I grew up, really liking science, and that's really what I wanted to do. But for me, writing, and I was a theater actor as well, that was more like a hobby. That was kind of like my escape. That's what I did to relax. And then my dad is a cinephile. So, after he comes home from work, he just wants to watch movies. That's how he relaxes, right? And so that's what really got me into it. And then when I first thought to myself, like, hey, maybe I could do this too, I was at University of Tennessee, and I made this really, really dumb video about the football team. And everyone just thought it was hilarious for some reason. And so, I don't know, that made me feel really good. And then when I was working at Disney, I made my only viral video to date. I found a bunch of ducks, and they for some reason thought that I was their mom or some shit like that. And it was the whole crazy story where I got Disney to
Thought you were their mom. Like this is.
Yeah. No, this happened. There's a viral video going around right now, and it's been going around for a while about. I mean, you just see these little ducklings, right? I go, look at this. Look, they follow me. Like they think I'm their mom. And I was freaking out because I had to be working an hour, which was a bad time to get 7 kids. So what I did, I literally lied to my boss and my superiors because I worked at Magic Kingdom, right? I took these ducklings, I put them in a bin. I drove to Animal Kingdom, the zoo, right? And I lied to everybody. I got them on the train by saying, oh yeah, like, you know, I work here, so the boss told me to bring these ducklings, like blah, blah. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense because, I mean, they're just wild animals. It's not like it's a hippo or some shit.
Right.
Like, yeah, but I'm just following orders. See, here's my card. It proves that I work here. He's like, okay, then come on in. And I almost got fired for that. I'm not going to lie. The only thing that saved me was there was a group of like Brazilian teens who were like visiting from, well, obviously from Brazil. Yeah. Brazilian high schoolers were visiting. And while my boss is yelling at me, he's like, oh, why would you bring them and blah, blah, because I got in the park. They come up and they're like, oh my gosh, they're so adorable. What are you guys going to do with them? And I literally look my boss in the face and go, he's going to adopt them because they have no mother. Isn't that right, Jerry? You're such a great person. And he was just like, yes, of course. Derek, why don't you follow me in the back? And yeah, I barely escaped.
Wait, so I got a question. So wait, all of this leads to you becoming a filmmaker?
Yeah, like, for some reason I made a lot of different videos that were really fun and stuff like that, and I just really enjoyed it because I was a writer and actor before, right? So I never really envisioned myself behind the camera and making different things like that.
Right.
That's what led to it.
Gotcha. And do you have like an ultimate goal when it comes down to filmmaking? Like what you like? What's your, I guess your big, when it's all said and done, this is, you know.
Obviously, you know, a lot of people want to be directors. I want to be a director too, but be a director is kind of vague. You know what I'm saying? So like my specific goal is I want to make a production company and I want to own and run that.
But do you want to have a production company for the sake of making money off of movies that you're directing, or you want to produce them as well?
Well, no, make money off of the movies that I'm making, right? Just because I have produced a couple other people's movies, and it's just not the same. It's so different when it's coming directly from you, as I'm sure you can understand, right? Mm. And because I write all the time, I want to do the scripts that I've already written. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times production companies, they got to look for the scripts. They got to look for the director. I already do both of those things. I don't feel like hiring other people.
No, I got you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the film that you I guess done last, your last short, or because you had like a film festival run, right?
Right. In fact, it just got into another film festival, the Vegas Movie Awards. So it was called Sweating Sands. Well, it is called Sweating Sands, rather. And I have a celebrity in there. His name is Rico McClinton. He was in How to Get Away with Murder. He was also in the Michael Bay Battleship movie. He was in True Blood. He was in a lot of different TV and stuff like that. And I really wanted to make a boxing movie, right? I mean, that's just something I really wanted to do. I mixed myself. Right. So one thing about American boxing movies, first of all, America makes the best boxing movies. Don't care what anyone else says. We just make the best boxing movies, hands down. And so I wanted to make, you know, a good classic American boxing movie, but, you know, a short. And so.
Sorry to cut you off, but I don't know if I'm aware of any like foreign boxing movies, honestly. Like what's a foreign boxing movie?
Well, there's been a couple, but I can never pronounce them. Like I can try.
But I'm saying, like, were any of them mainstream in America? Would they be recognizable names in America?
Probably not. Probably not that you guys have recognized. The only reason I even know about them is because some of my friends in Florida have shown them to me.
Gotcha.
Right? And it's just weird because there's a lot of different sports movies from all over the world. I mean, in fact, India, which, you know, has a huge movie industry itself, one of its most popular movies is about wrestling. you know, sports isn't just, you know, sports movies isn't just an American thing. But I really wanted to have a boxing movie with someone who was Hispanic as the lead, right? And in the writing process, it turned out to be I wrote it as a Hispanic woman. Her name was Maria, and her father was a great boxer, and so she wants to grow up to be a great boxer too. So
does she lose a fight and get paralyzed?
She does not. She does not.
Well,
Clint Eastwood isn't in it.
It's a short film. That'll be a pretty harsh. Like you have to just get straight to the point. Like she had to get paralyzed in the opening scene.
Right. That's like saying I can do it. Oh, and she's and that's just like
that's basically what $1 Million Baby did. Like built you up for 2 hours with this long sports movie.
Right.
Like,
Worst.
Right.
That movie is not a feel-good film at all. It's like a harsh reality punch to the face.
And also,
Literally.
I just like to say, I have never seen a chair just laying in the middle like that of a boxing ring where it's that out there. Like I've seen them in the corner or taken out. They're usually taken out because people are in the ring. You know, just that part confused me always.
I didn't see it, so I don't know the rest.
Because in the movie,
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
just keep talking about you. I don't.
All right, go ahead.
well,
I'm sorry.
in my short, right? So I wrote this short, and I was having a little bit of trouble casting it because a lot of women who came in for the main role, they didn't look like boxers. You know what I'm saying? They were really like slanky and skinny and the model look. And I'm like, if you've seen any fighter, they don't look like models. They just don't. They look like fighters. They have some muscle on them. They look like they've been through something. And what's funny is that a friend of mine told me about his friend. So a friend of a friend, he was like, she's mainly a filmmaker, but she's done some acting stuff. And her name is Maria. I was like, my main character is Maria. This might work out. Turns out she's from the exact place in Mexico in which I had written. She has a scar on her face, and she had done boxing before. It was literally like God presented me with the person I am.
Yo, that's lit. I love shit like that.
So then I was like, all right, cool. We can really do this. I posted it. I posted for casting for the person she's supposed to be trained under, whose name is Sharon. And that's how I actually got Rico. Rico had read my script before online. It was just like,
what did you say Rico's last name was?
McClinton. Rico McClinton, yeah. And he was great. He really was. He's really experienced. He taught me a lot about communicating with actors because usually I have a pretty good time with that anyway. But it's different when you're working with people who haven't done the multi-million-dollar, $100 million films and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like usually when you're talking to actors who don't have that type of experience, you can have this level of we're kind of teaching each other, right? But he had been on all these bigger sets and stuff like that, so he was really teaching me like, you know, a lot of different stuff. And even when it came down to the boxing, because he had done some boxing back in his day too, so it was pretty cool. That film currently has 6 different awards. So if you go on my like IMDb, it has 6 different awards, ranging from best cinematography to best first-time director, best action movie, a couple different stuff like that. So yeah.
Your film was just in what you said, London, right?
Yeah, it won in London for best first-time director in a London Film Festival. And currently, like I said, it's in the Vegas Movie Awards. That one, it is currently up for best first-time director and best action film. And so I'm a finalist for right now, but they're going to tell me at the end of the month if I won those categories or not.
Gotcha. This is him right here?
Yeah, that's him right there. That's him right there. He's really cool. He also used to be a weightlifter. He also used to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I seen that. That's why I had to do a couple Google searches. I'm like, man, I don't know if this is an actor or this is a big ass nigga, but this nigga.
No, that's him. That's definitely him.
Yeah, he had some pretty stocky pictures. So I was like, I had to make sure that was the actor, nigga, not.
I was actually in the movie I was in the movie as kind of like his assistant because he was the boxing coach. And you should see the pictures of us like next to each other. It looks like Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. I'm just so much smaller than he is.
No, for sure.
The guy.
No, he was big as shit. That's why I had to type in. After I typed in his name, then I had to put "How to Get Away with Murder" next to it, so I could make sure.
Yeah.
Because the other nigga was like doing this with fucking.
Yeah, he used to be a bodybuilder. He's
looking like the Hulk pissed off. So, so yeah, I'm tracking. Well, that's what's up, man. Well, hey, man, that was pretty informational, man. I learned some new things about you. A lot of that stuff I already knew. But the main thing I want everybody to take away from DJ is this nigga was in the circus, okay? And you will never personally meet anybody else in your life because it's generational. So that means wherever these people are, they only continue to know whoever they continue to know in their family. We don't meet these people. You got to find the one person who, you know, who did like a little, you know, he poked his head in, came back out. He got like a little, you know, a little AA in circus.
One thing I will say, if you do ever get to meet anyone else in the circus in person, and you know, like they have like their little crew, go to a circus after party. They are the wildest things in the world. They get drunk and they start juggling flaming swords and walking.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's not hard to believe at all. To have that much adrenaline rush and stuff, to be doing all that flipping and motorcycle riding and fire.
And they'll get drunk and they get really ballsy and they survive every time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like to have that level of wanting constant life on the edge experience, if you will, I can imagine partying is just through the roof. So I can imagine. But so let's get into these films, man.
Hit that with you.
We actually can start with the film that cost us the most. The film that cost us the most money. We had to buy a fucking AMC ticket to watch it. No, really dope film. It is First Blood. I don't have it in front of me. You know who directed it? I have to look it up in a second. But it's starring.
I do not know who directed it.
I'll look it up in a second. But it's starring Sylvester Stallone. It's technically, I guess, the first RAMBO of the RAMBO series.
Yeah.
I myself am not. I'm familiar with the RAMBO series in the sense of them existing, but that's my first RAMBO movie I've ever watched from start to finish. I've always seen bits and pieces of whatever. Mm-hmm. So for starters, I guess just to take a quick vote, we're gonna vote who I guess thought it was a good movie and who thought it was shitty. And if everybody thought it was shitty or if everybody thought it was a good movie, then I have to break you guys up in a different way. So for starters, is there anybody who did not like the movie? Anybody thought it was a bad movie? Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew it was gonna be somebody. Okay.
Get out of here, bro.
Okay, so is anybody else? Anybody else wants to, even if you like something about it, you want to vote on the side of this was not a good film, whether by the look, the lighting, the stunts, anything. So we got 3.
Oh, I wish someone would say stunts, and I'll fucking blow your mind. I wish.
So we got 3 on the side of liking it, with 1 on the side of dislike. All right, so I guess let's hear it from all the likes. So whoever wants to take the floor, the 3 of y'all, go for it, man. What was so dope about this film?
Let's let Lonnie go first. This was his film. Go ahead, Lonnie. Put us on.
All right. So there's a lot that I love about this movie. It's one of my favorite movies, hands down. Like I have trouble selecting favorites, but First Blood is without a doubt one of my favorite movies. I grew up wanting to be in special forces, wanting to be a Green Beret, and like John Rambo was one of my like fictional idols, role models.
Right.
I love the dialogue in this movie. I love a movie where they talk about how dope and badass somebody is without like showing it to us. So we just kind of have to like fill things in our own mind. It doesn't kind of like hold our hand. It lets us like work it up. Some of the like most badass lines are in this movie that I've ever heard. That scene where the colonel is first introduced to the police officer and he's just going through. He's like, I don't think you seem to understand the situation.
Yeah.
He's like, so let me tell you, let me guess. Like 200 of my guys up against your guys is a lose-lose situation. He's like, you're going to need one thing, a good supply of body bags.
Right.
He's like, Rambo's job was to kill, and Rambo was the best.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
No.
Dude. And there's just another like throwaway line when he's like, he takes the knife off of him and he's like, what's this for? And he's like, hunting. And he's like, what do you hunt with a knife? Name it.
Name it.
Ooh, boy. Okay. So that's just the like surface level, like macho shit, you know? The other parts of it, like one of the reasons I picked this movie is because the whole thing starts because of police brutality. The whole movie is driven.
I treated him like he was a black man. He wouldn't do nothing, man.
I mean, it's crazy.
And I'm glad you pointed that out, because there is something that I still wanted to point out about that whole police brutality situation.
Sure, I mean
and just for the record, all of you guys on the side of liking it, y'all have a certain time limit to do this together. So I would suggest the other you two jump in at any given
Yeah, go ahead, because I can literally talk about this movie for hours.
Go ahead.
I was
gonna say
that some of the changes from the book to the movie were pretty interesting too. That makes you like the movie a lot more. So like, because in the book, first of all, his name's not John Rambo. It's just Rambo, which I think they should have kept that in, because it was just his code name. It's not his legal name. So you didn't really know who this guy is in the book. But in the book, he starts off by, like, when he escapes the precinct, right? In the book, he's just killing people. He's just killing people. So it's like more justified. In the movie, though, you feel a lot more for Rambo, because he didn't hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying? He was a guy, especially when he's like, oh, you got some place to eat around here? And he goes 30 miles up the highway. Like, what is your problem, man? Right. And best part of that movie to me, the best scene is when he has his knife against his throat, right?
Without a doubt.
He's like, I could have killed you. I could have killed all of you, but I didn't. Yo, that's hype. It's hype.
Dude, the scene when he's like in town, you're the law. Out here, it's me. Dude. Oh.
Exactly. Hype.
Yeah, I love that. There's so many badass moments in that movie. And I love what you said about it being very relevant to what's going on today, because that whole scene with the police officer when he's like literally, if you change a few words and then change Rambo to being black, it's literally the exact same situation. He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, you're a drifter. You let one drifter in, or you know what, the whole town's full of drifters. He's like, yo, you replace that with another word. It's like, that shit was nuts. And then, like, the movie also just teaches, like, even with that one little misunderstanding, just teaches you, like, fucking respect people, man. You don't know what anyone's been through. You don't know anyone's background. You don't know what anyone's capable of. Like, you gotta fucking tread lightly with people, man, especially these fucking Vietnam veterans, man, because, like, what I loved about Sylvester Stallone's performance was, like, he had this really, like, far away look in his eyes. Yeah. It was, like, very different from, like, Rocky or other movies I've seen him in, where it's, like, it seems like half of the movie he's there, and the other half he's, like, he's like staring off into the distance, having some type of flashback.
Like, legit in pain. Like, he's like legitimately not doing well. He has like a mental illness almost.
For sure.
He has post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, they definitely wrote the character with PTSD. Like, that was that was dope.
All right, so DA, what you got, man? Why you ready to shit on this film?
Because the whole time they didn't really. They said it at the end, so I'm happy now. But the big thing about the movie was it was dealing with PTSD. And that it was the whole movie at the end, it was summed up by Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, sitting there crying, bawling his fucking eyes out.
That was great.
To his colonel. It was so emotional. I actually chose this side to say I don't like it because we still need some argument, but I did enjoy the movie. But I went in with high expectations of a ton of killing. This was...
You shouldn't have. Lonnie told you there wouldn't be any killing.
I told you that. I told you that.
Hey, goddammit. I let you guys talk.
But you're wrong. But go ahead.
Look at it was dry when it came to the action, where they had explosives. Yeah, cool.
Dude,
he didn't kill any. All I'm saying is I went in there and I expected a bunch of people to die. What happened? He only injured a few people.
That's what makes it dope, dude.
It's not. If
you think about the later Rambos, because the later Rambos are like that.
If you go into fucking interview Superman, you're gonna expect this nigga to fly. If he don't fly, that's not Superman.
The thing is, dude, is if he murdered those cops, we wouldn't care.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm talking about an expectation. I did not want to see explosions. the way you hyped this movie up, Lonnie, you was like, you know what? Rambo goes off. Oh, so and so. So I'm like, yeah, I bought the fucking movie. I'm going in there, and I'm like,
but BA, to be fair, Lonnie did say this is not like the rest of the Rambos with all the.
There is a reason that the other Rambos got made.
Yeah,
and
he did say, and the reason why I'm stopping you on that is because even though I agree in the sense of if you do watch a Rambo movie, you expect more, but being the fact that you mentioned that, like if you wouldn't have mentioned that, I would have thought the exact same thing that he's saying. You know what I'm saying? But because you gave that caveat, like that's the only reason why I went into it expecting.
How is it not like it? How is it not like the rest? Because he didn't kill people?
No, because in the rest of
the other movies,
it still had the same amount of action, pretty much the same amount of fucking explosions. How was it like the rest?
So because the first movie is not about the action. The first movie is about his. The reason why he breaks down at the end is because it's talking about the way masculine and men handle their own mental stresses.
Exactly.
All right, let's be honest. When you're a man, you don't just come out and say something's wrong, or else you're a bitch. Right?
Totally get it.
You know, I
totally
watched this movie with my girlfriend, and she was like, "Man, this movie is really about like male ego." Like you see the police officer, he's like challenged so much that he cannot stop. He cannot let it go. And Rambo eventually burns his town to the ground because he cannot.
At the beginning of this beginning of my turn of talking, I said that you guys almost missed that whole point, that this was a man dealing with PTSD. And not only y'all didn't start with that,
but that's what we're saying. The rest of the movies aren't about the PTSD.
The whole movie. What was talking about? You know what? Look it. All I can say is,
look it.
And look it. Hold on. The only injuries that this dude got was always from falling. How come he keeps falling?
Let me point out something real quick, because I'm liking this debate. Y'all can keep on 1 second, but I do understand when he jumped from the side of that mountain onto that tree. I understand that's realistic because Green Berets will do that.
No,
and you know he did that in real life, right, Rudy? Do you know that?
I don't, but
he really did that stuff.
But sticking to my point though, well, let me backtrack for a second. So you're telling me from a real mountain jumping to that tree, or are you saying just from a certain height jumping to that tree?
No, he did that stunt.
That is
exactly the way it looks.
That's a real stunt. He really did that.
He fucked himself up. Yes. He broke a bunch of ribs.
He went Jackie Chan and was like,
that's what I was getting ready to ask. Because my whole point is, how the fuck did the character come out with a scratch on his arm that he treated like it was a fucking bullet wound? Like every time this thing got caught on something, he was just like I thought his shoulder was out of place.
Like,
but it was a fucking scratch on the arm. And I'm like, first of all, diving on that tree from that high, like in real life, like you said, he should have broken a lot more shit. Like, once again, I get Green Beret, you definitely could probably avoid breaking a lot of shit because maybe you know how to whatever, but to come out with a scratch in your arm and treat that as the Achilles heel, I thought that was a little extra in my behalf. That's I like the movie, not taking a shot at it, but I did thought that was pretty extra.
One thing that DA asked, he was like, how is this movie different from the other Rambos? And the reason it's different, bro, is because other Rambos hold your hand. It's like all action, all like goodies.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, Rudy, you were in the military. Like, you've never seen the other Rambos, but like, what sense would it make of one dude storming an entire Russian army base?
There's a Rambo.
That doesn't happen.
One of the Rambo movies,
let me
he's
ask you,
shot at someone and he takes a grenade, puts it on the end of a bow, and just that's why would you need to do that?
But Rudy, let me ask you a question. What happens if you were to give a Green Beret a squad automatic weapon and let him loose in a town? He could fuck up that town.
Right, for sure. For sure.
So it's based in reality, that movie, from the beginning to the end.
I totally get it, Lonnie. I totally get it. DJ, I totally get it. Chris. No one's saying that it was a bad movie. All I'm saying is it didn't meet my expectations. I had a bar right here, and it came right here.
Just
That's
out of,
because you've
just
been
out of
watching-
curiosity, did you feel that same way about Black Panther? I know this is a different movie, but I'm just asking. Did you feel that same way about Black Panther?
Yes.
Felt that way about the villain in Black Panther.
No, I'm talking about that. I'm
Like-
talking about, no. I'm talking about the level of action. The level of action in the movie for it to be
In a way, yes. In a way, yes.
Okay. Cause I did too. I thought Black Panther was very shortchanged on action for it to be a superhero movie. Especially this is the biggest, and I know we're not gonna harp on Black Panther, but the biggest mistake they made was they made Black Panther a badass in that Civil War movie or whatever the fuck that other movie he was
That
in.
was hype.
And then backtracked.
So then when they got to the real one, he was getting his ass whooped the whole movie. And it was like, yo, this can't be the same nigga. This is, and then it was way more of a message than it was the action. I did it, whatever. But that's neither here nor there. So anything else about First Blood? Good, bad, indifferent.
You know what?
Great movie. It was good. I enjoyed
all
it.
in all, I thought the
Thank you, Lonnie.
cinematography was great. I thought the story was very emotional. Like I said, that ending. But when it came to the action, it shortchanged me. Lonnie.
Hey, one more thing I wanted to say. This movie reminded me a lot of that movie, The Fugitive. You guys have seen that movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie.
Another great.
There's another movie,
great movie.
Chris. It's called The Hunted. I believe it's on Netflix. It's with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro.
Hey, the Hunted. That is that a sequel?
No, it's basically like it's kind of like First Blood, but they're like
Yo,
special forces with knives. It's an
Have you
excellent
seen-
movie.
have you seen U.S. Marshals? That's actually a sequel
course.
to The Fugitive.
Yeah,
Yes,
of
great
course.
movie. Wesley Snipes is running his ass off in that movie.
Mhm.
That's a great film.
How
But The
about,
Fugitive
have
is
you guys
way better.
seen have you guys seen Land Before Time?
Yes,
Yeah.
Shark Tooth.
That's not the
Fishes.
He said land.
He's trying to say that we're being too random. We need to
No,
move
no,
on.
no, 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 I'm not. No, I'm not. Hey, but let's go to your movie though, Chris. I know, Uncut Gems is something you've been campaigning for the
Dying
past few
to-
weeks.
for us to see.
I don't remember. I know the Safdie Bros. I guess the people who directed and wrote and everything this movie. Starring
the
Adam
Safdie Bros.
Sandler, starring Kevin Garnett. By show of hands, anybody disliked it? Anybody on the side of no?
Oh, I'll take no.
Wow.
okay.
We got two
Hey,
and two.
hey, Chris, look at Chris.
Hey,
I'm-
well
I'm-
let's start with the nose first. Nose go in. Let's go.
Go ahead. What do you
Let
got?
me make this disclaimer. I really actually enjoyed this movie. I thought.
It's just because I talk shit about Nolan, so you're just always gonna be
No,
against me now.
no. I'm telling you, we need some people on the safe side. All right,
Devil's advocate.
DJ, you can start off. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So I guess I get to go first. I will also say that I did like the movie overall. I did like Adam Sandler's performance. The problem that I mainly had with this movie is that it wasn't. There was too much randomness in it for me. I mean, like the movie itself, when it comes to the dialogue and the snappy dialogue, first of all, they had worked on that script for 10 years. I've seen all the behind the scenes stories and heard all that stuff. When you work on a script for 10 years, you can write dialogue for like that. You work on a decade on dialogue, and of course you can have that back and forth. But there was just a whole bunch of like serious randomness that was going on in this. Like, honestly, can anyone say what was his ultimate, like, what did he want from the movie? Like, what did he want? I mean, if you're saying he just wanted money, and at first I thought that's what it was, but then he got this opal. And that was like,
what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? What did he want? Adam Sandler?
yeah, like, what did he want? I mean, like, what was he, like, what was going on? Because I feel like
He
the
was
movie,
always chasing the next win. He's an addict.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah,
chasing
no.
the next
He's a gambling addict.
constantly.
yeah, but then it's like, then he went to the opal, but then he went, because I get the thing with the bets, and it's like, oh, okay, here's his relationship with my family. And I was just like, it feels like just like a rabid dog going to whatever. And I don't know, man. It felt kind of weird to me. And not the fact that there aren't stories about addicts and shit like that, because there are that are a lot of good too. And like I said, it's not like I hated this movie. It would just felt really too random for me. It just felt way too random. Like some of the stuff just came out of nowhere. Like, oh, here's The Weeknd, and The Weeknd knows you. And there was also some guy with the Jesus chain.
To give you a little insight on that, this movie takes place in the same cinematic universe as Good Time, and that cinematic universe is reality. These are real movies. Like, life is random. Like, that's what they're trying to go for in this film. Everything about this film is very real. I'm gonna save that for when it's my time to talk. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look, I just want to say that I didn't think Adam Sandler was all that. No, I'm joking. I just wanted to fuck with Chris. No, Adam Sandler.
The dialogue was shitty. I hated the close-ups. Just hate everything good about the movie.
Adam Sandler showed his ass in this movie. But I still agree with DJ. I thought the movie was very random, and it was kind of, although it was like just going through. I get that the movie is about going through life, but it was just like going through this moment, and I'm trying to keep up with all the information that's being thrown at me. Oh, that he's
very stimulating.
His wife, or are they separated, or how's that going? And then the fact that Kevin Garnett is still in this rock. What the fuck is this rock in the first place? It was a ton of information being thrown at me. And it was hard to keep up.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Like, they're speaking so fast in the movie. I dare someone say they're not speaking fast. I dare you to say
it's New York. People talk fast in New York.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, if you miss one line, you will be confused. All right? Let's be honest. When you're making a film, there are multiple. Like, the reason why they layer information in film is so that people can't say, "Oh, I missed that." You know what I'm saying?
I disagree. I think they wanted you to intentionally miss lines to add to the tension of the movie. I think that was done quite on purpose.
For sure. On second watch, there's little lines in the background. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You said the second watch. See, no, you gotta see, but people usually see movies once. You got to get it off that first one, because if you don't like it the first one, you're not going to see it again.
I'm just agreeing with what Lonnie said. Like, a lot of the lines that you would miss that are really fast, or they're usually like lines in the background, or they're like lines that don't really matter. Most of the lines that mattered, though, were pretty hard to miss. I don't know. I just disagree, but
the biggest.
I'm sorry, Jay. I think what Lonnie was saying was not so much that they were meant to be missed, but like, they were meant to be like, you have to pay close attention. Like it's meant to be fast paced because you can miss it. So like what he's saying is to DJ's point of saying, I think you can miss a lot of lines. He think they fast pace it on purpose so that just as it's going that fast in the room, you would feel that same rush.
I mean, there were literally parts of the movie where he's talking and the phone is ringing and the phone would cut out his voice. Like, you would literally not be able to hear, and it would literally the sound of anxiety would come on, that like me thing, and you literally couldn't hear. Like, for sure it was done on purpose. The fucking scene with KG where he's locked in the box and it's like,
oh my God.
Right, and then
one of the most intense scenes.
Yeah.
Come on, get me out of the fucking.
I was kind of mad they killed my guy at the end too. I'm not gonna lie. I did actually like that part of the movie with that shot, because it felt like a logical conclusion, because the whole movie madness and insanity, and when he finally got shot, I was like, now I can breathe. Like 3 hours later. However, I would say that I did not want him to die. I will say that.
That's my point.
There's like 18 storylines going on, and I felt like I got ripped off.
I think, I agree. I feel like that was the biggest upsetting part about the whole movie. The fact that this main character that we followed 2 hours, I gave my 2 hours for. God damn it. And he died at the end along with his brother-in-law.
And he won, bro. He got the bet too.
And then they get robbed. Well, I mean, that's just shit. He was about to go fuck the hell out of that gorgeous-ass girl. And at
the same time, I think him dying at the end is perfect, because of the fact that, for one, nobody wants him to die at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all are sitting there like, yo, this nigga finally figured it out. After all this time, he locked him in the box, but he finally won. He got it. Like, he got it together. Everybody's straight, whatever like that. They're like, all right, man, fuck it, man. Just let us out of here, whatever. Because we're even thinking that he won't get killed without his brother-in-law at least making the call. Like, so he would have to at least make the call for that to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
hold on. But so to show that the other nigga is so fed up with all the damage that Adam Sandler has already done. Because that's just like if Adam Sandler was like, for just 2 years straight, this nigga seeing you every day and just slap you in the face, and you just never got to hit back. And then the one time you finally got to hit back, like, it literally just kills him. It's just like, yeah, we're looking at that one hard slap at the end that killed him, But look at everything else he did to get to this point. That death wasn't out of nowhere. He brought that shit on himself.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I will question the
Whose turn is it? I'm confused.
I know.
Because
this is the bad. It's supposed to be their turn.
Adam Sandler.
No. First of all, I'm gonna let you go, DA. But if y'all have not went on the side of defending the movie as a good movie, y'all should definitely went by now. I didn't know I was gonna have to.
I just want to say some of the number stuff to me personally was confusing. It could have just been me. Right? People could have gotten some of the technical stuff like that. Some of the technical stuff like that.
Wait a minute. We was at a whole pause break. This man just kept going.
Right. Like, what's up? Can we start talking about the good shit? First of all, I have a rebuttal too to what you're saying. Wait, did you just say that the gambling stuff was confusing?
No, not all of it. I'm saying like some of the number stuff confused me. Exactly what that was going on.
One thing you should know going into the movie, all right, one thing that he does a lot, which is just nuts, it shows you how deep he is into the gambling. Off the break, he's doing parlay bets. Do you understand what a parlay bet is? It means literally everything on the parlay bet has to happen.
Like at the end of the movie, if he didn't win the tip-off, he lost all of it.
Right.
Literally, immediately. Yo, he did the same thing with the first game. He bets on the tip-off, Garnett points, Garnett rebounds. Yo, a six-way parlay. So if you understand that moment at the end of the movie when the tip-off happens, I was on the edge of my fucking seat. Like, dude, if he loses the tip-off, it's fucking over. So,
dude, when he says in the beginning, when he's like six-way parlay, I went like this. I'm like, oh, you fucking
the guy's like, he said, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the stupidest fucking bet I ever heard in my life. And he's like, hey, he's like, I know something. So not only that, but you see from the beginning of the movie, the foreshadowing of how deep he is into this gambling thing. Because one, he pawns the ring from Garnett that doesn't even fucking belong to him.
Instantly.
Then, before that, he bets the Jesus piece, which you find out later also doesn't fucking belong to him. Like, this is shit that he pawned and then bet the money that doesn't even belong to him. So he is literally like, it's all or nothing from the beginning of the fucking film, bro. Like, he is chasing this fucking dragon from the beginning of the film.
Right.
And what Chris was saying about how, like, everything is so real, like, I don't know, man, like, just growing up Jewish, like, that feeling of this movie is what it feels like to be a Jew a lot of the time. It's all anxiety. It's constant, like, yelling and screaming and fucking, I call them sweaty arguments. It's just, like, constant, like, ugh. And dude, Adam Sandler's portrayal of a New York scumbag was perfect.
Yo, I love that.
The mole, the bullshit. It was
dude,
perfect.
Fucking Lonnie, not to cut you off, but to piggyback what you said, yo, he was a scumbag. I love that part where the fucking dude's coming up about the money with like his ugly brother. He's like, "What, you brought your fucking heavy?" And he's like, he hands him the watch, and the guy's like, "What? I don't know anything about a watch." He's like, "I'm not fucking buying watches. Fuck out of here with the watch."
Yeah, that shit was funny.
That was hilarious. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then also, the girl's ass was definitely worth.
Oh my God!
Mentioning.
I can't argue this. I can't argue not. She had an ass, man. I can't.
Like she turned around and I was like, I like looked at Lauren and I'm like, what?
I didn't
what
know
is
that
happening?
like that.
I was like, is that fake? And Lauren's like, I think she's just blessed. Like, I think she's just
highly fucking favored.
Oh, and to say one other thing, he did have to die because he would have never stopped. He would have never. The movie needed an ending, and it would have never ended. He would have just kept going, getting deeper, deeper. It would have never ended.
For sure.
I wanted to say one other thing too. Like I said, with the foreshadowing of the film, one thing you guys might not know: this film is also like The Lighthouse. It's a retelling of a Greek myth. This is the retelling of the story of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. And literally at the end of the movie, with the flying to the Mohican sun, there's literal references to it. But the character of Icarus or whatever, in that story, the character in the beginning of the Greek myth is trapped inside of a labyrinth of his own creating, which is the gambling addiction that Adam Sandler is trapped in, right? Then he comes up with this grand scheme, just like Icarus and his father or whatever, to get out of this labyrinth, which was the big win, which was the opal, the gem, right? That's the big win that he's trying to make, right? And in the process of that flying up and down, he flew too close to the sun, right?
Mhm.
And that's how he ended up dying at the end of the film. So one thing that's also foreshadowed in the beginning of the film that is the big point that Adam kind of misses is the lack of respect. He's so caught up in his own addiction and his own motives that he's not respecting or even listening to the people around him. And that's shown in two key scenes in the beginning of the film. One key scene is immediately off the break. The guys are there. He owes money. He's like, how you doing? The guy, when they meet, him and Phil, the guy Phil, which, by the way, great fucking performance. That guy Phil was a cold gangster. And it's great. That's what I loved about the Safdie brothers. They took a lot of non-professional actors who were really those people in New York, really lived that life and brought them in. So they were just playing themselves, which was amazing. So he comes up to the guy. He's like, hey, how you doing? My name's Phil. Instead of listening to the guy and giving him respect, the guy says, no, I'm good. I don't want any water. Doesn't even listen to him, brings out the water, opens it. And the first thing he says to him is like, he's like, hey, listen, I don't got a lot of time. Not even respecting the guy's fucking time. So the guy slaps the shit out of him. Throughout the whole movie, he is disrespecting Phil, especially leading up to the point when he locks him in the box. He even says some shit to Phil, like, I'm done with you right now. Fuck you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm talking to Arnold.
And all that shit.
Yeah, Phil nods his head like, okay, all right, motherfucker, I got something for you. And right then and there, he's like, man, I'm killing this motherfucker. I don't care what happens. And as they're sitting there, he's probably looking at all the jewelry like, hey, motherfucker, I'm about to steal all this shit. Fuck this $100,000. There's like $1 million worth of shit in here. Right. So, like, Adam Sandler was so oblivious to that and was even caught up in this fantasy that we as a viewer are caught up in, which is that the hero will prevail. That if he wins and makes all the right moves,
out of anything.
But he's forgetting reality and respect and the streets and consequences and all that comes to a head when he gets shot in the head.
That's what I was saying about how, like, he's not listening. Like, the sound cuts out. It doesn't matter, like, what else is going on because all you're focused on is what Adam Sandler's focused on. It doesn't matter, like, who's talking, who's calling on the phone. The doctor's calling and telling him he doesn't have cancer. And he's like, okay, whatever. Like, I got something else going on, you know? It's, you know what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real.
Anything
else? Go ahead, you got something?
I was going to say, can we all agree that this movie was about greed?
You said that
yes.
Yeah. It was about greed. Although I was on the no side that I thought this was a bad movie, I think this was actually a really great movie. And
like I said, it's not like I didn't like the movie. I just thought it had like a couple issues. I will say this movie did something that had not happened in a long time. In which,
what's that?
When I was watching this movie, I literally felt like I was like I had done drugs or something like that. Because if you if you miss one sentence, it's too bad. They're moving on. Like he already has gotten himself deeper. If you blink, you messed up. I went to go to the bathroom and I was like, dude, I'm glad I'm watching this at home. If I would have done this in the theaters, I probably would have pissed on the seat because I would have missed something. Yeah.
Hey, Alani,
yo, I saw it in the theater. My bad, DA. I was gonna say I saw it in the theater, and the part at the end when he gets shot, the audible gasp from the audience was like, like almost every person in the audience gasped. Like it was crazy. Go ahead. I'm sorry, DA.
I was gonna ask Lonnie. Lonnie, you've seen blah blah blah.
I don't think Lonnie's there.
All right, DJ, you've seen Dunkirk, right?
Yeah.
All right. Did you not get the same kind of anxiety with the underscore from the music?
It's a different type of anxiety, and the reason is because it comes from Christopher Nolan's directing style, and also when he talks about his writing. Christopher Nolan talks about this continuous crescendo, right? He describes it as when you look at a barber pole, how the lines just go up and up, and also in music, how like it just makes the sound feel continuous. Where that's like one continuous buildup, but in Christopher Nolan's movies, at the end you get this breath, right? At the end, where it's like, all right, so things are done. This movie was different because instead of having that continuous, it was like up and down because you felt that okay, so he's gonna stop. No, you did it worse. Okay, you're gonna stop now. No, you didn't. Okay, now you're gonna stop. Holy shit!
I kind of disagree with that only because I felt like it kind of made you feel anxious the whole time because
exactly
it was a different kind of anxious.
Never let up.
It was an unsettling kind of feeling. You just had to watch it you're intrigued and you're there. Your attention is stolen from you.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that the portrayal of just Judaism, like Jewish culture. There's that one scene specifically was the Passover, where everyone's at Passover and all of the guys are sitting around talking basketball.
Right.
I had to remind myself that I wasn't in the room. I was like, dude, I have been in so many Jewish basketball conversations in my life. Oh no, he doesn't have that shit. He's a fucking bum. Last year he fucking rolled his ankle. He only scored 18 points a year. It was spot on. And did you guys notice that was one of the guys was the fat Jewish?
Okay. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? The guy from Instagram?
With the
oh, nah.
Yeah, he was in the movie.
No, I didn't even pay attention.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I was going to say the Safdie brothers, man, they were really good at it in Good Time, but how fucking good are these guys at creating tension, bro? Like, first of all, the scene when fucking Kevin Garnett is trapped in that box with the guys and he has the gem, it's right there. And he's trying to open the fucking door.
I thought I was gonna die, man.
Dude, in the theater, I'm just like, oh my God, just get it open. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that shit had me like, And it was such a simple and effective scene that had really no overall consequence on the film and yet had me fucking biting my nails. That's ridiculous.
That's why I said it was a different kind of tension than the type of tension Nolan builds. Nolan's tension is nice and slow and big. This one was like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. It was just a different type of tension.
Definitely should have won an Oscar though. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it
at least one. Like, at least for screenplay. They took 10 years on the goddamn thing.
Adam Sandler should have definitely been nominated. The fact that he wasn't was ridiculous.
Like, that was a snub.
It was one of his best
sure.
portrayals, really. Yeah. Amazing.
This was even better than Punch Drunk Love as far as his acting chops. Like, this was, he was Howard Ratner. And even just with subtle shit, like, you could see it in his eyes, in his character's eyes. Like, you see him staring around, scheming, thinking of the next plot. Like, he was in fucking character this whole film.
The whole movie was his perspective. The whole movie. There's one scene where it's her walking back into the club, but the whole movie is from his point of view. And that's hard, man, to do the whole movie from your angle. It's a lot of responsibility.
When he breaks down, he's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Right? When he breaks down and says that, what I like about that scene the most is not the fact that he breaks down, but how fast he gets back on that horse. He only cries and breaks down for maybe 30 seconds, right? Because she's talking to him. She's like, oh, he's trying to calm down. He's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He gets the call. He's like, oh, I'm back in it. Fuck it.
Yo, I love that part. Like, and then I also love that part when he's crying, breaking down. It's probably the funniest part in the whole film. He's crying, breaking down, and the fucking watch guy shows up on the camera. He's like, oh, this fucking guy.
Yeah. But in conclusion for Uncut Gems, that goes to Lonnie's point of that's why he had to die at the end, because he would never fucking stop. And even to DA's point about it being about greed, like, it was a fast-paced, greed, scumbag. Like, this is dog-eat-dog world. Like, we all out here, for self, and I'll fuck over whoever to get what I need to get. And you know what I'm saying?
One other thing too that I loved about the film, like I said, they made it very realistic. His girlfriend in the film, not only was her performance really great and surprising, but the character was so realistically written. Women, no woman is fucking perfect. Like, yeah, it's his girlfriend, but still, she's not going to look at Kevin Garnett and maybe flirt with him a little bit. She ends up in the bathroom with Weeknd. She's not going to do a line. It's like, you know what I mean? But at the end, the redemption, they showed how fucking trustworthy she was, because she took that money and she went right to where he said, he placed the fucking bet, and that big reward, even though Howard died, she gets to keep that money, and that was her reward for just being a down-ass bitch, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, when I saw the, rich guy with the long hair with the money, I was like, fuck, no!
I thought he killed her.
No, same shit. When I saw him with the money, I'm like, he's in on it? She dead now? But no, he brought it right to her.
I was like, damn, everyone's dying. This is fucking Departed.
Yeah. Crazy.
You can't. I knew she wasn't going to die because of how great her ass is.
Oh,
it's illegal.
one other thing before we close. Yeah, go ahead. One other thing before we close, what I also loved was Arno, his brother-in-law, right? So Arno is basically his problem is he doesn't want to handle it man to man with Howard. Instead, he goes and hires these fucking greasy goons that are, you know what I'm saying, that he's somehow connected to. And the whole movie, you think that Arno is like their boss. He's not their boss. He just hired them. They're debt collectors. They don't really work for him. They work for the mob or maybe nobody. So toward the end of the film, you saw, because even when Howard actually wins the bet, Arno stands up in the box and he's smiling. He's like, "You son of a bitch, he did it. He actually did it." He actually wanted Howard to pay him back the money. He wanted Howard to win. He wanted it to be better. You know what I'm saying? But then what he didn't realize was these two wild dogs that he's trying to tame.
It was like,
fuck, got out of control, and we're like, fuck it. They did their own thing. And then when he seemed like he was going to snitch or he wasn't with them, they killed him too. So he just got way too wrapped up and caught up in some shit that could have been handled, like Adam Sandler said at the Passover, could have been handled man to man.
Right. For sure. It's a good film. Uncut Gems. Glad we finally got it out of the way, so Chris will stop around.
Right. Sorry, guys.
All right, and then for our final.
One last thing.
No. We're moving on. You've said one last thing 15 times. No.
It's not about Uncut Gems. It's not about Uncut Gems. I am not at home right now. I didn't bring my cable, so I can't sit for the last movie. I'm gonna have to go. I'm sorry. I don't have enough battery. I don't want to be in the middle of us talking about the movie and I just disappear.
So you're doing way too much explaining. Just go ahead and leave so we keep.
Love you guys. Peace.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you too, bro. All right, guys.
All right, so for our last film, What Happened to Monday? This film I chose is Netflix original, starring, I guess her name is pronounced Nomi Rapace.
Nomi Rapace.
Of course, William Dafoe has, I guess, a bit of a strong cameo in it. Of course, Glenn Close and a wrecking of other cast members. This is a film that I chose. One of my favorite movies that I've ever seen, just as an entire setup. Speaking of people who should have been nominated, I'm surprised this woman wasn't nominated for playing 7 individual roles that could have convincingly been somebody else. And like if somebody would have told me that those were, I don't know what you call 7 twins, but sextuplets plus 1, like whatever that is, I would have believed them, because literally none of the characters blended. They were all literally 7 different characters. But before I even get deeper into my take, so was there anybody who did not like the film? Okay, so DA, what did you like about the film?
Actually, I really love the whole world about it. Being able, the government forcing everyone to only have one child, kind of reminded me of China. How, I don't know if it's still a thing, but they can only have one child over there.
Still a thing.
And then the fact that William Dafoe went through the lengths that he did to save his daughter's children, in my opinion, to kind of keep her remembrance alive. And then the whole journey about it. It was a lot of, because I thought who I thought was the actual villain was not the villain. And then when it was revealed, because I really did think Monday died. So, and then I thought the short-haired girl who was actually, I see now that she's the protagonist. I thought she was the antagonist against the sisters. And so, because in the beginning, she was the one who had to basically step up and lose her finger. I believe that was her. I thought it was great.
That one, Thursday, I think she was, who had the short hair. She lost her finger because she snuck out and got on the skateboard.
Oh, that was her on the skateboard.
But Monday was the one who had to first step up and get her finger cut off.
But they all got their little finger cut off, though.
Right, but I'm saying, but Monday was first, though, is what I'm saying. That's why he said, Monday, I need you to be brave and, like, show your sisters that this not going to hurt that bad. They all had to get it, but Monday was always hating her for that. Like, I had to, we're so wrapped up in this system that we've created of just trying to pretend to be one person, that it even cost me to have to walk around with a slight rub on my finger because of you, because you wanted to be selfish enough to go outside when it wasn't even your day, be on a skateboard, so on and so forth. So,
another thing I liked was actually the motives behind everyone. I felt like Monday had a great motive. She had kids, and she was just trying to save them. I felt that was a very emotional motive to actually keep the whole story going. And then shout out to the boyfriend who got to sleep with the sister. So, but overall, I thought the movie was very entertaining, and I loved it. I don't have to go that long.
Right. Well, I'll even put in my part. I mean, just as far as same thing for me. I even thought it was very good that they were strategic about creating the characters based off of the day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So like Saturday had this party animal, perspective.
Yeah.
It's like everybody had their, I thought that was real strategic. I thought that the title itself, I think, is very catchy, especially because it has nothing to do with literally the days of the week in the sense of like the Monday, the day itself disappeared. It's like, okay, this world where it's only supposed to be one kid and 7 kids survive for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Like literally pretending to be one person. You like, and that's got to be pretty shit. You go 30 years, you're literally going outside once a week. That's like low-key pandemic, you know what I'm saying? But it never ends, like a 30-year pandemic. Right. So with that, you can see their frustrations, you can see the whatever, but they're all sisters and they've all grown this bond, so they love each other, and they're really just kind of just still in it for each other. Where everything goes haywire is the one person gets selfish and is like, nah, fuck these bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in this shit for myself. I want my own life. I want to have my own kid. I want to be married. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of being Sarah.
But it's like, I think the reason why.
Wait. I know you're against it. So before you give your point, so she didn't want to be the same thing they had been hiding behind or whatever, and she even went as far to get the government involved. Like, it wasn't even like she just disappeared one day and didn't come back and let the risk of them getting caught or whatever. She just literally went and was like, yo, the old, white lady, let's do X, Y, B, Z, whatever the case may be, like, go get the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a whole thing all because of her selfishness. But at the same time, you could tell that the sisters, even when they realized what she did or whatever, like, it was still about saving her. And even when they realized that she was trying to kill him, like, they still was trying to do everything they could to preserve that legacy, because they knew how important it is to be able to have more than one child. And then they was fighting for a bigger cause. Like, they really were almost like, if that was a civil rights thing, if you will, or just any type of protesting, if you will, like, they lost some of their siblings, but they remained with 2 of them, got 2, I guess, nieces and nephews or whatever the twins were. And on top of that, allowed the rest of the world or country or whatever that was to be free to now have however many babies they want, because they're not getting burned in this fucking, thing or whatever like that. And my last point before you go, DJ, I think it was very strategic how they specifically used all white people in this whole thing, because if they would have started burning niggas, this movie would have got a very bad review, and everybody would be like, "Yo, this is some racist ass shit," or whatever, and everybody would have missed the whole point. So I'm glad that they were smart enough to be like, "Yo, let's just use everybody who look the same." So that way, we realize it's a system thing and not systematically against us.
A little piece of me when I was watching this, I was like, look at what was happening. Like, it wasn't exactly like that in China, obviously, but they think about this rule and we're like, you know what? Let's first they cast Asians and they instantly saw the bad that would happen. So that stuff would happen. But I gotta say, like, the reason why I didn't really like it, it's not like, first of all, her performance was amazing. All right, there's not a lot of people who can do multiple characters and do them seriously. There's a lot of times when people can do multiple characters in different movies, famously also done by Eddie Murphy, which, but it's different when it's comedic versus dramatic. You know what I'm saying? Those are 2 different times of acting, right? But I gotta say, like, their plan felt really stupid to me. Like, they got to find out what happened to her sister, right? Monday disappeared. Her little chip or whatever was gone, right? So their instant idea is, all right, so they haven't caught us yet because we're not on the registry. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. You got to admit, that's strike one. You can't just keep, like, if you have all been the same person and you know, because it's like a wheel, right? It's like wheels on a car. If one wheel of the car falls off, you don't just be like, all right, well, maybe if I keep driving.
but this is the thing about that though. When you know that wheel fell off, so now you know to stop driving. Y'all, if y'all have literally built a system from birth, like this is literally all you've done for 30 years. You've never done anything else. You've never done this outside of 30 years. And all of a sudden, it's now Tuesday and Monday never came back. Now,
the fact that one of the girls is a genius now. She does all the little technical stuff.
But and that's why they were able to figure it out as they go. But the same thing, like if she's off the radar, but the character who they're playing isn't, they don't know how to react to that because it's always been, even if somebody's late, somebody goes out, that same person comes in, get a report, go out. So like, I want you, once again, think about how well you know how to speak English. You know how to speak English because however old you are right now, which is I'm sure at least nearly 30 years, you have been speaking English that entire time. If all of a sudden we was like, yo, hey, the English language is gone. Speak Spanish, motherfucker. That's an entire But that's what I'm saying. But that's as far as you're gonna go, and then people are gonna be fucking you over at the banks because they speak.
Okay, well then here's the thing. So even then, right? So you're like, okay, so let's continue. Then Tuesday disappeared. It's not like there was just like this one strike and then like that was it. Like there were multiple strikes before they, realized, okay, maybe we should do something different. On top of the fact that their excuse for trying to continue and being in the same little bubble was that, oh, we're not on the registry when obviously something has gone wrong.
But what happened?
I think the writing was a little weak, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what happened when Tuesday disappeared? They didn't send the regular chick with the wig to work. The chick, she had the little hood, whatever it was, the hood or whatever it was, like she went out, ducked out, trying to figure stuff out. And now that's what they like. Let me go to the dude who we think is watching us, who he just wanted the promotion, who got shot with the milk carton. They tried something different when the second sister ended up missing.
There's 7 of them who are all distinctly different, right? That is like one of the cool parts I do enjoy in the movie, where they have these 7 different personalities, right? I find it hard to believe that 7 30-year-old women who, by the way, since they can't go outside, spend most of their time reading and looking out at the outside world, right?
They don't spend their time reading. That's when they all had their different things that they did. All of them wasn't sitting inside studying. One was hitting the punching bag.
Even if 2 of them have some sort of intelligence, you would know that I can't just keep, I need to go directly to solve this problem. You know what I'm saying?
You're thinking about it from a person who's experienced life. Imagine if you have been trapped inside for 30 years and then you only go out once a week. How much are you really, and then that didn't start today, was like at least 5 years old. So like, how much are you really learning? You don't understand what the world is.
But my problem with the movie is that they don't really spend enough time with them. Like we didn't get to see one end of day meeting. I wanted to see it. Like they're like talking about the.
They did show it.
Not really. Like they like let it go in the first act. Like that's it. There's no more end of day meetings. There was not enough. Willem Dafoe just like disappears. He's like not a part of the movie. He was the strongest actor besides the main actress.
But that's because he wasn't.
I also wanted it to be like a mystery movie and not a like action John Wick pretend movie. Yeah, and I'm like, I thought it was gratuitous. I thought like them just getting killed over and over. I'm like, I was bored.
Like, who cares? There's 7 of them. Try again.
Like when they killed the doorman, I was like, unnecessary. Like that was unnecessary. Like just let's go, get the movie going.
But hold on. Like, how you saying get the movie going? But you want them to spend more time on the end of day meetings though. If they spend more time,
not just like the end of day meetings. Not the end of day meetings like specifically, but just like their like dynamic more. Like what I really think the movie should have been was like a mystery. Like it's called What Happened to Monday. So I think it could
wasn't
have
a
been
mystery. It was
cool.
more like an action
So
movie.
you trying to tell?
It just
Hold on,
became
hold
this
on,
like
hold on.
shoot 'em
So you
up movie.
trying to tell me this entire
Rudy.
movie y'all was not trying to figure out what the fuck happened to Monday?
I kind
Oh,
of
I
guessed
figured it
she
out
was the
almost.
bad guy, dude.
Almost
I'll tell you
instantly,
when I
I
kind
knew
of
what
guessed she was the bad guy. This is how I guessed it, right?
Almost
So-
instantly.
It's not about what I'm saying is, regardless of when you find out she was the bad guy, what I'm saying is that the name of the movie is What Happened to Monday.
And I didn't worry.
As an adult, they started on Sunday, and then as they were showing the flashbacks of how they get to their normal life, and then when they finally get to the consistency, it starts on Monday. She has the sickness. Oh, you want somebody else to go, blah, blah, blah. And then she finally leaves and never comes back. Mind you, from the day that you've been born to 30 years later, this is the only thing that has been happening. Your sister leaves, she comes back. Your sister leaves, she comes back. All of a sudden, Monday does not come back. Now,
I
it's
like
a
the
mystery.
concept of the movie.
Dude,
But I'm saying that's the same mystery. That's the same type of mystery, if you want to call it, or adventure as Hangover.
But see,
What
no,
happened to Doug?
it's not, because in
But
Hangover,
imagine if Hangover turned into a shooting movie halfway through. You'd be like, what?
Right.
What?
It's a comedy, though. It's a comedy. That world was set in a fucking I Am Legend fucking city.
even
That
still,
wasn't no regular city. That wasn't New York.
There's 7 of them, right? So there's 7 of them. They're like super expendable. Like in Hangover, you have 3 main people who you are focusing on, and even though there are other characters, if something happened to one of them, I'd be like, oh shit, like there's only 2 of you left. Something happened Monday, Tuesday, and then when something happened to Wednesday, I was like, really? There's still a lot of you left.
And Friday
Like,
just like
really?
blows herself up. I'm like, what the
The thing,
what?
but the
Why?
thing about
And
it,
also, the bad guy, whatever the blonde dude's name who was working under that old lady, he kind of sucked. His acting kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, you kind of, I don't like.
but I'm saying for the concept of the movie, they literally, first of all, they didn't die in order of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They didn't die in that order. But even as they were dying, it's 7 of them, and they live in a world where it's only supposed to be 1, and they've survived 30 years with 7, which is why the old white lady was like, "Yo, no, don't we gotta do this under the radar." Like that's
the movie. I get it.
No, I'm saying that's a key thing. We have to keep this under the radar. I'm saying that's the reason why they had so many. You're saying that they were expendable, but you have to have a lot to show the drasticness of what they've accomplished. Like they've literally done, like everybody else's siblings are getting burned, and they got 7 motherfuckers
Rudy is
showing
very
up to
worked
work,
up over this
doing
movie.
the
Rudy
same
loves
fucking
this movie.
thing every single day. What'd you say, Lonnie?
I was saying you love this movie. You're very worked up over
No.
opinions.
I know it's one of my favorite movies in the sense of like a non-black movie, if I just be straight up. But
I have a question to you,
Go ahead.
Rudy. All right, so here's the thing. You're saying that part of the reason why it was so, because I do understand how big of a deal it was for them to get away with it, right? So they couldn't put him on the registry because it would ruin the old lady's reputation and all that stuff, right? And we are living, and the world is kind of set in, it's not like a super far future. That's not what it is. It's kind of like a near future.
it was 2073.
I mean, hold on. What I mean by far future was there's no spaceships and shit like that. That's what I mean by not far future. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like so under 100 years from now. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing.
Okay.
So they had different wigs and stuff like that. Like, why couldn't they just pretend to be other people? Like, how is that not possible?
They mentioned it in there because you have to keep going through stopping points and scanning points. Like that's the whole.
They already made one fake person before.
DJ, you really think that they got a one-child system and they just gonna let motherfuckers walk around with different wigs? Oh, we don't know who the fuck that is. That's just they look the same.
They did it already. They got away with it.
You think they got a whole system where they
Nah.
burn kids and they won't recognize different wigs? Like it's a whole radar.
So people today at our modern world get facial reconstruction and different hair, and no
But
one.
they were tracked by the bracelet, is what I'm saying.
liked all that.
So when you're
Honestly, I
walking
like
around
the,
without
like-
the bracelet and you try to get scanned, your ass is automatically done. You automatically.
I like the
oh,
mechanisms of the movie. Like I thought it had a good, like I liked the story. The world was built very well. It was like I was interested in it. But the dialogue threw me off. The part where he's like, "Oh, I thought you would sleep your way to the top, but you're just a frigid bitch." I was like, "Who talks like that?" This is like, you know what
white
it was?
men
It
in
was your,
corporate America. That's who.
well,
White men
okay.
in corporate America.
but like that.
Understand.
What it seemed like to me was it was like Europeans trying to write Americans. Like it didn't seem. I don't know.
They watched Blade Runner and was like, yes.
Right. I don't know. I did like her. I thought her performance was good. I liked Willem Dafoe. I liked the world. I liked all the mechanisms, the bracelet. I liked how they had to hide in the closet. I liked it all. There were parts of the movie I liked, but I don't know. I wanted a little bit more.
You
I
just
think
expected
shout out to
more.
the little girl too. Huh?
I was saying Lonnie
Oh, the
expected.
little girl's acting too. You're right, because she had to do 7 of herself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What you were saying, DA?
No, I was saying that I was basically like agreeing with.
Somebody just sneezed off camera. What was that?
Yeah,
That was probably his wife.
Oh, I'm like, I heard a sneeze, but none of y'all look like y'all sneezes now. Okay.
I still using my mouth closed and my eyes.
That's DJ. He learned how to be a ventriloquist in the circus.
Right. That's how they originally let me in. That's what they really wanted. I ended up doing something else.
I'm sorry. What you were saying, though, DA? You were saying Lonnie what now?
Oh shit, I forgot. I was saying that Lonnie had expected more, and it was understandable.
I did expect it.
It's not like Lonnie saying, "Oh, this was a bad movie." He's saying basically, I expected more of the movie.
And also, I did see William when I saw William Dafoe in the trailer. I now understand what they mean by marketing, because I saw William Dafoe and I was like, I'm in. That's it. And then he was only like.
But the thing about it is, but he played a key part though. Like he wasn't.
I didn't say that. Did I say he didn't do that? That's not what I said.
Right. But I'm saying, I know that was a point that y'all made that I think Lonnie made, that he wasn't in the movie that much. But I'm saying he wasn't, because it was literally this, at least in my opinion, this unknown actress who can act very well. It was really her film. But if you bring in a William Dafoe, the other whatever like that, like you're saying, to the marketing, it's going to draw in the people. But to me, honestly, I seen it before even knowing he was in it. I just seen the title one day on Netflix when I was in the hospital.
You know what I really wanted more of? Was when she cut the guy's finger off and like sewed it onto her finger.
I thought she would keep it on there. I was like,
I wanted more of that.
I was like,
okay, now start playing with the like ingenuity of the world. Okay, let's see more of that. And then she got shot in the head. I'm like, come on.
But she made the jump too, but she got shot.
She did. She made the jump.
And got shot.
I will say this: her sister fucked up. How do you not know when the trash comes? I fucking know when the trash. Everyone.
Right.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
She got fucked up.
And why did she kill herself? Because she couldn't handle the world.
Who, Friday?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think that helped the decision, but she wanted to save all of their stuff on the thing.
Right, the pictures
she knew that
and
she
stuff.
couldn't
That's right.
save it and escape. But at the same time, she knew that she would have to sacrifice herself, because she's not even one of the strong ones. Like, you go ahead and find Monday. I'll secure our life here on this computer, so you got it in your it's synced to your thing. You go ahead. I'll take the sacrifice.
No, I think one of the things, back to what was Lonnie was saying, when he was like, "Oh, I expected more," and more, some of the dialogue was kind of weird. I will say this: there are some really good actors in this movie, and they're acting so good that it makes the other actors seem a little bit lower. And I think that's why, like, when I say like the bad guy, the blonde guy who was working on the old lady, like, his acting wasn't. It's not like it was bad, because that's not true. But you have a really great actress who's doing 7 at 1. You have a kid who is also a really great actress doing 7 at 1. You have William Dafoe, and you're stacking basically these giants who have these amazing acting roles against other people who feel like they're basically throwing away, right? So, and because it wasn't only centered around those great actors, when the other people come on the screen, it's kind of just ruins it, you know?
Before we finish this podcast, I want you guys to know that his name is Willem and not William Dafoe.
Willem. Oh, I've been saying it wrong.
Well, as long as this is a Black Ram podcast, he's gonna be William. Okay. We may even change it to Willie if we.
Quick question.
Willie Foe, what's up, bro? Willie Foe.
Look, quick question. What happened to Monday or Alita the Battle Angel?
First of all, that wasn't a quick question. That was very slow. You said that very, very slow. But I haven't seen Alita, so I don't know. I have to watch it. I heard it was good though, but I haven't seen it though.
No, Alita is very good.
I heard
it was.
Yeah, Alita Battle Angel was pretty interesting. I went to a pre-screening of that.
Come on, those big ass eyes. Why did it make her have those big ass?
I will say this. I think you didn't like this movie better than I did Alita Battle Angel. Now I think about it, I think I like this one better.
Yeah, because it's an actual completion of the story, whereas we're left at the end of Alita Battle Angel with her holding a knife up to the sky saying, "I'm coming to get you guys."
I will say this. The amount of times in which American movies that are based on Japanese manga and anime have been good totals 1. out of the many, many times they've tried it. The only really, and when I say one, I'm talking about it was it's Tom Cruise in it. It was now called Live, Die, Repeat, but it wasn't originally called that.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow was, yeah, that was a really good movie. That was literally based from a Japanese manga, right? And it's a really great movie, but you know, that's the only really time I can think of, because if you think about not only Alita Battle Angel, I'm sure everyone can think about Dragon Ball Z. Everyone can think about a lot of them actually, just really not that good. The only times this really worked out are movies like Inception, where they were like, okay, so we're going to take the premise of something that we've seen, because Inception is based off a movie called Paprika, which is one of my favorite movies.
This nigga connecting movies in history right now. He's like, yo, this film from this. Like,
I am, man. Because
like Jurassic Park was called Little Dinosaurs, but
they took the little dinosaurs and they the frogs and shit. But no, like I really think that this movie was better than Alita Battle Angel, only because in Alita Battle Angel there's so much story and so much going on. There wasn't enough time.
There wasn't enough time.
It happens with a lot of times when they make movies based off of TV shows that aren't a continuation of the end of the TV show.
I think Alita is supposed to be part of a sequel, if I'm not, like, it's supposed to be part of like a trilogy. It's James Cameron. He always makes movies like Avatar is supposed to be like 9 Avatar movies. So he always leaves them open because he makes so much money off of it, you know?
But the problem is that with Avatar, you can watch that movie by itself and be straight. Alita Battle Angel, at the end, you're like, oh, it's over? You know what I mean?
I felt when I seen Lucy. Lucy was trash. Like, I don't know if y'all remember Lucy.
Sucks.
Like she never struggled the whole movie. Like, she literally just beat everybody's ass the whole movie, and it just ended. I was just like,
remember when she turns herself into a flash drive?
Yeah, and it's just like she just was unbeatable. I was just like, yo, this is not even a good movie.
Stupid.
No triumph, just straight, just victories all the way through. So
use 100% of your brain. You've never done that?
Well, does anybody have anything else about any of these movies before we wrap this thing on up? Any last thoughts?
I will say I am looking forward to her being in other movies.
Who's that? What happened to Monday?
Yeah.
So she's in Prometheus.
Well, I mean, in the future. I know I've seen her in the past.
She was in this movie with Colin Farrell that's pretty good, where they're like hitmen. I'm trying to remember. Terrence Howard is the bad guy. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was not a bad movie at all. It's pretty good. She's been in quite a few movies. She's good. I like her. Noomi Rapace.
Yeah. No,
I'm gonna have to look her up.
No.
Oh, you know who she was? She was the original girl with the dragon tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Like the first ones, not the remake. The first one.
The first one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
Dope. Well, that's cool, man. Hey, so DJ, since I gave you the chance, but you didn't, I guess, want to take it. So for next week, if you want to leave us with a movie that you want us to check out, even though you won't be here to talk about it, but do you have like a suggestion that you want that a good film?
Let me try to think of one that you guys probably wouldn't see unless I told you about it. Have you seen Perfect Blue?
I have not.
There's a movie called Perfect Blue. It is animated, but
Animated fine.
And it's online for free. If you need the free hookup, I will let you know. There's legal places where you can stream it legally.
So it's not on just the regular Netflix or whatever.
No, it's not because it's from the 80s, man. It's an 80s animated movie.
Okay. Well, if you have the link or whatever, send it to us. Other than that, we're trying not to have to pay for another First Blood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would definitely suggest Perfect Blue, and I'll send you guys a link to that.
For sure. Okay. Well, I guess DJ, even just replug in. I guess any websites, social medias, whatever.
You can follow my Instagram at real D2 on Instagram. Real_D, then literally the number 2. Outside of that, I got a feature coming up called Blood Related that will be shooting in the fall. So,
that was originally called Redlands, but it got changed to Blood. Gotcha. And then DA, I'll do yours. D_A_Henry. That's my man DA Henry. Then we got Cox Comedy. I'm Willy Nilly if you're nasty. This has been another episode of Dumbass Film Students. Please subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram at No Life Boys Production. That's NOLIFE BOYZZZ and then Productions. We here every week, man. DJ, man, appreciate you once again, man, for coming through, man. Your input was greatly appreciated, greatly needed. The fancy hat is always appreciated. DA, appreciate you. Chris, wherever the fuck you are now, appreciate you. And of course, Lonnie Cox and brother, I appreciate you. We out this bitch, man. Peace.
Peace.